Alright, so today we're going to get started on word problems, and we're going to do them to its two-step equations, and then if we have time we're going to do word problems with linear equations to learn to practice reading a problem and how to set it up. Alright, so here we have our first word problem is 331 students went on a field trip. 6 buses were filled and 7 students traveled in cars. How many students were in each bus? Alright. So,
Write that on the board.
what are we looking for?
Can you write that on the board?
Alright, so we have 331 students.
Run up 330.
6 buses were filled. 7 students went in cars. And the question is,
How many students were on each bus?
how many students on in
No, you have to write this time on each bus. Tell you what to do.
No, you can write it down. You can write down at least 3 and get it over. Alright, so we have 331 students. 6 buses were filled. 7 students were in cars. And the question, what we're looking for is how many students rode in each bus. Alright, so we know there's a total of 331 students. So that's over here, equals. Alright, so it says 6 buses were filled, but we don't know how many were in each bus. So we know we have 6 buses, and we know there's going to be a certain amount of children in each one of those buses. So that means we're going to be multiplying. Hold on, let me do that. Alright, so we have 331 students. We know 7 students were in a car, so we know that 7 students were not on the bus. So we can subtract 7 from the total amount because we know that they won't be on the bus. So 331 minus 7 is going to be 300, so that's 324 students left. And we know we have 6 buses. So how many students are going to be on each bus to where we have 624 students? So that means we're going to be multiplying. So we divide by 6 because we know we have 6 buses, we don't know how many students, and we have a total of 324 students. So if we divide the total number of students by 6, which are the buses, then that gives 324 divided by 6 is
54.
6 doesn't go
It's
in.
54.
6 goes in. 54 times. So that means that there were 54 students on each bus. So let's say this is a bus. So we have a bus. We have a bus. I'm just showing you why it's multiplication. You have a bus. Shut up, Joshua.
What was the song? Turtle.
Alright, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 buses. And we're saying we have 54 students on each bus. So 54, 54.
I see
I
why.
don't even think I'm doing that right. 54, and 54. So that's 54 6 times, which is 54 times 6. So we do 54 times 6. 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times 5 is 30. 324. Plus the 7 that rode in cars. That's our 331 students. Okay.
Wait, hold up.
What?
231.
I didn't see how that was a two-step equation. I guess because I did that separate.
Wait, how is it a two-step equation?
And that's what I just did. I guess because I did that separate. I wrote 6x equals 331 minus 7. Then I guess it would have been a two-step equation.
Such thing as three-step equations?
We've been doing more than two-step equations on linear equations.
So four-step equations.
Okay, it shows the right answer, but it doesn't show how to say it. Alright, so the next one we have.
Sally had power orders.
Is it Sally?
I don't know.
It's Elia or something. Come on, focus. Focus. Okay. Elia had $24 to spend on 7 pencils. After buying them, she had $10. How much did each pencil cost?
Hold up.
All right.
24 dollars.
So she has $24.
$24.
Alright, I'm gonna go to the new one.
You just been waiting for this one. Watch this.
Alright, she has $24. And she's gonna spend it on 7 pencils. After buying them, she had $10 remaining. So, what is the cost of each pencil? Alright, so she has $24. She spent it on, we know she had $10 remaining. So that means, so she started out with 24 and she spent it, so it's going to be minus, and we don't know how much they cost, but we know she had 7 pencils, so it's going to be, the cost of those 7 pencils are going to be the cost times each pencil, so it's going to be 7 times x, because we don't know the cost of it. So she started out with 24, she spent this amount on 7 pencils, which we don't know that amount, so x times 7, and then she was left with $10. Alright, I'm going to say that again. She started out with $24, and she spent money, so we're subtracting. We know how many pencils she brought, but we don't know the cost, and the total cost, let's say they were 10 cents each, then it would be 10 cents times 7 pencils, because each one is the same price. So we subtract the total amount. We don't know the dollar amount, but we know how many pencils. But the total amount is the number of pencils times the dollar amount that we don't know, so that's why it's minus 7x. And we know that we're left with $10 because she had $10 remaining. So now we have our two-step equation. We have 24 minus 7x equals 10. So we're going to subtract 24. That leaves us with negative 7x equals negative 14. and then we divide by -7. So X equals +2. So they were $2 each. Alright, so we do that, we say that she brought 7 pencils and they were $2 each. So that would be 7 times 2, that would be $14 spent. So if she started out with 24, that would be 24 minus 14, which is left with 10. So we set that up correctly.
What? The camera sees you.
Is it a worm or a spider web with a stick on it?
It's not a worm. It's an inch. Alright.
Alright, Joshua, read the next one. Actually, you're not gonna give me.
The sum of 3 consecutive numbers is 72. What are the smallest of these numbers? We ain't got nothing. How is it a two-step equation? Okay.
Alright, the next one. You bought a magazine for $5 and 4 erasers. You spent a total of $25. How much did each eraser cost? Alright, so it says you brought a magazine for $5. So that's going to be magazine, and then you got 4 erasers.
$5 for each magazine.
You brought a magazine for $5,
Alright.
and then you brought 4 erasers, but the cost is unknown. You spent a total of $25.
I want you to write down the word problems themselves, Joshua. Not just
Spent
what I'm writing on the board.
$25.
That's why I'm giving you the phone. Alright,
You bought a magazine.
so the magazine was $5. We know behind our equal sign is going to be 25 because that was what we spent total. So we already spent $5. And something else we spent, we also bought, that means in addition to the $5 we spent, we also spent, so we're adding,
Magazine.
we also bought 4 erasers, but we don't know their cost. So the cost is going to be the 4 erasers times their price, which we don't know, which is X. So we're going to subtract 5.
I cannot spend a total of $25. Cares how much? How
Alright, so we're going to subtract 5.
much?
That leaves us with 4x equals 20. We divide by 4. Some expensive erasers. 4 equals 420 divided by 4 is 5.
$5.
So that's $5 each.
Yikes.
So if we plug that in,
Yikes.
we get $5 for the magazine plus 4 erasers times the $5 each equals 25. 4 times 5 is 20. 5 plus 20 equals 25.
$5.
So again, how we got 4x is because the 4 erasers, we knew we spent $5. We're trying to figure out how much more we spent to spend a total of $25. And this total cost is the number of erasers times the cost of those erasers, which we did not know. So we knew 4 erasers, and then we needed to multiply it by their cost to get that total amount. So the cost is X, because we didn't know it. And so that's how we got 5 plus 4X equals 25. And then we just work out our two-step equation.
Messed up.
All right, the next one,
I think I'd be able to remember that.
we have
What's this? Getting food all over my stomach.
Maria.
Maria bought 7 buses.
Maria bought 7 boxes. A week later, half of all her boxes were destroyed in a fire. There are now only 22 boxes left. With how many did she start?
What? What?
Okay, to read that.
Alright, so it says Maria bought 7 boxes. A week later, half of all her boxes were destroyed. In a fire. There are now only 22 boxes left. With how many did she start? All right.
Bought 7. Oh.
I think that's just saying she added to it.
Yeah.
Because I was like, okay. What? You
They
bought
quit.
7 and she got 22 left after half? All right. So what we're looking for is how many she started with. So we know she ended with 22.
Can you hand me the phone?
What?
The phone.
Oh. All right, so whatever she had, we don't know the starting amount, so that's gonna be X. But we do know that she bought 7, so that means she added 7 to whatever her starting amount was. And then half of it was destroyed, so we're gonna divide by 2, because that'll give us half of whatever she had left. And then we know she's left with 22 bucks. So again, we don't know the beginning amount, so the beginning amount equals X. So that's what we put here. And we know she bought 7 of them, adding to what she already had, so that's X plus 7. And we know that half of it was destroyed, so we divide by 2. And we know she's left with 22.
There you go. 7 boxes.
And the reason we're dividing because it says destroyed. So you know when you divide, you have less. So if it was saying that she had got half as much more, then we would have multiplied or but destroy is one that takes away, so we divide. So, yeah. Anyway. Alright, so we multiply by 2. That leaves us with x plus 7 equals 24. Ooh.
24.
Equals 44. And that's what you have to be careful of on your test. Make sure you don't add when you're supposed to be multiplying, vice versa, and all that. Alright, so 22 times 2 is 44, so x plus 7 equals 44. And we subtract 7. And we are left with 37. So x equals 37. So she started out with 37 boxes. So if we plug that in, we get 37 plus 7 divided by 2 equals 22. 37 plus 7 is 44 divided by 2. 44 divided by 2 is 22 equals 22. So that is correct. All right, class. We need somebody to come up and try one out on their own.
Oh, wow. Wow. Your turn, Casper.
All right, I think we have a volunteer.
Yeah, Casper. So you need to keep it happening.
All right. So the next one we had, I forgot to zoom back in on that. Wait, where is it? Oh. Focus. All right, so the next one we have Sumali won 40 super bouncy balls playing horseshoes at her school's game night. Later, why are you writing so big? You don't have nowhere to work that. Joshua, quit wasting my markers. Write where you can still have room to work out stuff. You don't have to write that big. Erase that and write that smaller. Okay. Okay, sorry if y'all can't see that. Later, she gave 2 to each of her friends. She only has 8 remaining. How many friends does she have? Okay, there we go. She gave 2 to each of her friends. She only has 8 remaining. How many friends does she have? Friends question mark. Number friends question mark. Oh, I did. All right.
Well, we know that there are 8 friends remaining, so go ahead and you go ahead and have that. Yes. So she started out with 40 bouncy balls, and she was giving 2 away to each one. So I mean, no, she was giving. Oh, true. She was buying those friends. So since she was giving 2 away, then it'd be 42 and X, which is number of friends. And let's skip some out.
No. Move Okay, try again.
Alright. 40 super bouncy balls. Gave 2 to each friend. 2, so we know 2 somewhere in there. To each friend.
Alright, so she started out with 40 super bouncy balls. And we're left with 8. We know she gave 2, so we're going to be subtracting that away from her total. We divided on the last one because it said that she lost half. So even if we, which means, which was the same as dividing by 2, we could have multiplied by half and got the same answer, but half is like a fraction, so you kind of had to divide. Alright, so this is, she started out with 40 and she's given 2 away, so we know we're going to be subtracting that from her total. And she was giving 2 to each of her friends. That means they were each getting 1, so we know we're going to have 2 multiple times, so we're multiplying. And we don't know the number of friends, so X. So each friend got 2, so we know this number is going to be multiplied by 2 for the total that she lost or gave away. So now we can work this out and we subtract 40.
6.
So you have to pay attention to know when to divide and when to subtract. Because if he had worked that out, well, you saw that X would have just went away. Alright, so then we're left with 2x equals negative 32, I think. And then we divide by negative 2, which leaves us with positive 16. So if we plug it in, we get 40 minus 2 times 16 equals 8. Negative 2 times 16 is negative 32. 40 minus 32 is 8.
So she only had 8 friends. 16.
So she had 8.
16 friends.
She had 16 friends. She had a lot of friends.
That's
Alright, so this was the balls. This was amount given to each friend. This was number of friends. I'm not an English teacher. And this was
Friends. My friends.
alright. I'm gonna go one more. Go ahead and try it.
Maybe I'm ready. Yeah.
I'm doing.
If I just see and I know it's addition.
And that's why you gotta practice and learn what words are per word.
Yeah, I did learn that in 6th grade.
No, you sure didn't know, didn't you?
I don't remember the words.
It don't matter. You should just know that just from English language.
I don't study the English language that much.
All right. So the next one. Imani spent half of her weekly allowance playing mini golf. To earn more money, her parents let her wash the car for $4. What is her weekly allowance if she ended with $12? You need to be sitting down still writing. You need to write this stuff out, not just watch.
I did write it out.
You need to be still sitting down writing, not just watching. Imani spent half, so she spent it. We know we're going to be subtracting, spent half. So she spent half of her allowance playing mini golf. To earn more money, her parents let her wash the car for $4. if she ended with $12? All right, so we know the end is $12. That's her new balance. We don't know what she started out with, so that's X. So that's going to be we know that she spent half of it. So that's going to be dividing by 2. Because half of it is being taken away. And we know that when we divide by 2, then that's half. And so then she got $4 more.
She got $4 more. Wow. She got.
All right. So we know that she spent half of her allowance, so we know we can divide by 2 to get half of what that is. So that's why that's set up like that. And then she earned $4 more, and then she had $12. All right, so we're gonna add 4. Subtract 4. Did you work this out already? So we left with X over 2 equals 8. Then we multiply by 2. So X equals 16. So we plug that in, we get 16 divided by 2 plus 4 equals 12. 16 divided by 2 is 8. 8 plus 4 is 12. So we did that one correct. So her weekly allowance is $16. So she gets $16 every week. All right, you ready to try?
Yes.
All right, it says Aliyah has some candy to give to her 4 children. She first took 10 pieces for herself and then evenly divided the rest among her children. Each child received 2 pieces. With how many pieces did she start?
4 children.
All right, so she had some candy to give her 4 children. She first took 10 pieces for herself. First took 10 pieces for herself. That's important. 10 pieces.
She greedy.
This is good. And then evenly divided the rest among her children. Each child received 2 pieces.
All right. Divide among.
All you have to do, no, you don't need to write that.
Each child gets.
multiply sentences, Joshua.
2.
Okay. With how many pieces did she start? So start amount equals X.
Start amount.
Alright, so she had some candy to give to her 4 children. She took 10 pieces for herself and then evenly divided the rest among her children. Each child received 2 pieces. How many pieces did she start?
First
With.
takes.
With how many pieces did she start?
First move is that she takes 10. So somewhere there, subtract 10. 10 subtracted. And then each.
Subtracted from what?
It said that's the first move.
Subtracted from what? What did she take 10 from?
Candy.
Okay. So subtracted from what?
Subtracted from the 4.
Why would you subtract it from 4 children?
Well,
And you
no.
said she took that from the candy that she had.
So no, it would be.
Correct. So it says that she first took 10 pieces for herself, but we don't know that amount. And we see here that we wrote start amount equals X. So that's X minus 10. And then she evenly divides the rest among her children. Each child receives 2 pieces. Let that thing be.
Alright. Evenly divides. That's what makes it even more special. 2 among her children. She has 4 children. I think I'm thinking too hard. 4 children. 2 pieces. Yes, 2. Candy subtracts 10 from it. And now she gets to do some division here. No. Yes, division. She divides her among her 4 children. But they each get 2 pieces. I don't think I'm thinking about this right. She divides among her after that. You're trying to solve it. Is it getting to linear equation system? Go ahead and take that.
Alright, that was a little bit of
Make me mean.
Alright. So she started out with we don't know how much. And she took 10 for herself. and then she divides the rest among her children. And each child, that's extra words. She divided the rest evenly among her children. Each child received 2 pieces. So we know how many she gave them, which is 4 times 2.
That's what I was thinking.
Because it already shows you how many they got after she's divided. So she already did the division. So it's 2 pieces per child. And so it's 4 times 2. So x minus 10 equals 8. Then we add 10. X equals 18. So if she started out with 18 and she took 10, she was left with 8 pieces. If she divides 8 pieces amongst her 4 children, so 1, 2, 3, 4, then, and we divide that amongst the children evenly, so 1 piece of candy, 2, 1 piece of candy each, and that's 4, and then another 1 piece of candy each, that's 8. I don't know if I set that up right. Because there has to be.
I'm hungry too, too.
I just know how to, because that's a one-step equation. It's supposed to be 2 5 times 6.
Where's the title?
What do you divide?
Look at that paper. She already did the division, because she already divided it even.
What do you divide?
Oh, I know what it was. I
She
think.
knows. She thinks.
Yeah. Alright, so that's what it was. We know that they got 2 pieces each. And so we divide x minus 10 by 4. That's why it's a 2-step equation. Either way is what it is. Because she divided what was left amongst her children, which was 4 children. So it would be x minus 10 divided by 4 equals 2. Because she divided what was left evenly among her children. So see, we're gonna get the same thing that we had before. It's gonna be x minus 10 equals 4 times 2, which is 8, and then plus 10, x equals 18. That was extra. She had already did the division.
Okay.
All right.
Now, can I do one that understandable?
That was understandable. All right. It says, how old am I if
On 400.
400 reduced by 2 times my age is 244?
Well, 400 minus
You don't need to be
2
writing.
times
And you need to write
X.
these questions.
400. No, that's 400 minus 2x.
All right, so how old am I if 400 reduced by 2 times my age is 244?
How old am I if
400
400
reduced by 2
reduced by
times
2
TIMES,
by
my age.
TIMES?
Mm-hmm.
Well, why'd you say that?
My age is 244 because that's the times that it is. I don't want you to write an X. So it says, how old am I if 400 reduced, that's minus, by 2 times my age, we don't know the
2x.
age,
I said the already.
is 244. So her age times 2, taking that away from 400, equals 244. So it says, how old am I if 400 reduced by 2 times my age, which we don't know, so we put x, equals 244. So we subtract 400. That leaves us with negative 2x equals negative 244. We divide by negative 2. That leaves us with x.
Yeah, I don't think you got the right
Pause the video. Stop. Okay, wait a minute. Oh, I wonder if it's. No, that's still weird.
You get 480, girl.
Hold on.
But that negative 2.
Okay, I'm not reading this right or something.
Can you read it out again?
No, I'm gonna have to, because I ain't even reading it right. Alright, it says, how old am I if 400 reduced by 2 times my age is 244?
If 400 reduced by 2 times my age equals 244 is what I got.
What, you just read the word problem. I wish I could pause that.
Maybe there's some logic in there that I'm not getting.
Maybe that's the reason.
Maybe that's division.
Nope, that don't make sense.
That don't make sense, she says. Does it make sense?
Was that a bird or somebody saying hey?
Why? It's a bird.
That's how I'm picking it up. I don't know.
-2.
I don't know how I would set that up. So that's how I'm picking it up. I wish they would have showed that instead. Okay, we're gonna go to another. We're gonna come back to that one. All right.
Yeah, crash.
So this one says Jill sold half of her comic books.
Jill sold.
And then bought 16 more.
Her comic
She now has 36.
books and
With how many did she begin?
bought 16 more. She now has 36.
All right.
How many did she start
So
out
we know she's ending with 36.
Did she start out with
Alright, so we don't know how much she started out with, but we know that she sold half,
so that's gonna be divided by half
and then she bought 16.
and about 16.
Alright, so you see I wrote it out as multiplication this time, but we multiply, what does it come to? X divided by 2. So it's the same thing. Alright, so x over 2 plus 16 equals 36, so we're going to subtract 16.
And that's gonna equal 20.
So x over 2 equals 20, and we multiply by 2,
By 2. And
so x equals 40. So if we plug that in, we get 40 times a half, or 40 divided by 2, because she sold half of them, that leaves us with 20, and 20 plus the 16 that she bought is 36. Okay, I'm stumped on this one.
What's the answer?
120 something. X equals 40.
What's wrong with the other one?
It's 78.
What? 244 minus 400. Right. This is the same as negative 400 plus 244.
Oh, because it's still. Hold on.
Boy.
That ain't right either.
I don't know what you
Wait,
did,
it might
but
be.
it's funny.
It might be right. That ain't gonna be right. Cause that's gonna be a fraction.
156, 116. Hey, 156.
It should be that.
156. Two, set. Oh. Ooh, I got 78.
What you do? What? Where?
So I did that, switched it around, and then I did the thing. No, I meant to put negative 70.
Wait, what?
I meant to say I got negative 7. Negative 7. No, hold on. Yeah, negative 78.
How is that 156? I guess that's why I messed up at. So I did set it up right. I just did that math wrong. That's why I was confused. Alright, so we're
It's
going
supposed
backwards.
to be negative 156, though.
So, but I didn't even do that. I did 244 equals 244. And I'm not really
Oh, yeah,
quite,
so you do get 78.
I'm not really quite sure why I did that. But, well, I do know why. Okay, so going back to this one. How old am I if 400 reduced by 2 times multiplication my age equals 244?
2 times 7
244.
equals 244.
So we subtract by 400. This is what we messed up earlier. I did my math wrong. And y'all didn't correct me. Y'all should have corrected me. So we left with 2x equals, what was it? 156? Negative 156? Negative 156?
No. Negative 156.
That's what I said. And then we divide by negative 2. And x equals 78.
You didn't bring down that 6.
Alright. I'm doing something like, why did I just do 244? Because I think that's what I did. What's it?
All you did was subtract 400 from 244.
No,
I
subtracted 200.
No, you subtracted, before you subtracted, you said 244 minus 400,
It's
and then you put,
244, negative
and then you put
244.
negative 2x equals 244.
Negative 244. That's what I did. Because I was thinking that, I don't know what I was thinking. Okay. Alright, so that was that. I'm like, I don't know. I don't even set this up right. I don't know. Alright, we're going to do one more, then let our student try again by himself.
As long as they're like this number 6.
Alright, so the next one.
Let me do 2 more parts. No, that. This one and the next one.
Sorry, y'all.
Sorry, y'all.
For a field trip, 4 students rode in cars.
Field trip. 4.
And the rest filled 9 buses. How many students? I'm showing the answer. Oh my goodness.
And the rest filled 9. They're gonna be going back after you said that. Oh, what's the answer? And the rest filled 9 buses. How many
Wish this would focus.
How many students were there?
Okay, I'm gonna just have to read it. Okay, so for a field trip, 4 students rode in cars and the rest filled 9 buses. How many students were in each bus if 472 students were on the trip? So this is kind of like the first one we did.
How many
So it
students
said
filled
472 students on the trip.
each bus? If 400, you mean 72? If 472.
4 were in cars. It had a total of 9 buses. How many students were in each bus?
Mm. 472.
Alright, so we know
7.
there's a total of 472. We know that 4 of them were in cars, so we can subtract 4 from that. Well, I know how they had it set up. We know that 4 of them were in cars, so we're going to be subtracting 4 from whatever was in the bus. Wait, what? No. No,
you,
no,
you
no, no.
subtract.
No,
You subtract
no,
4
no,
from
no.
472.
I know, but I'm trying to figure out because last time it wasn't a 2-step equation. All right, I'm gonna vote
I'll
on
tell you what you do.
So we have 9 buses. We don't know how many is in each one, which is multiplication because it's however many students in each of those 9 buses, so it's gonna be multiplied. And yeah, that's right. I can do that like that.
Mm-hmm. Sure can. I don't know what you did, but you sure can. And there are not 9x.
Let's see.
This is
Let's
a
see.
2-step equation. Or you could do it the other way around.
All right, so it's the students in the bus minus the 4 students. No, that's not, I feel like that's not right. I think I'm gonna just do it the way I did it the first time, but that's not really a 2-step equation.
Now it is.
Hold on. Okay. Students in each bus. How many students were in each bus? Oh, I get it. Okay. So it's the students in each bus plus the 4 students that rode in cars equals the 472 students that were total. So this is the buses. This is the children in the buses. Plus the 4 children in cars equals the total number of children.
68.
Alright, so we subtract the 4 that were in cars, because we're trying to figure out only how many were in buses, and we know that 4 were in cars, so we subtract the 4 that were in cars, and we're left with 9x equals 468.
Yeah, we got the same thing.
Yeah, I know. But you have to set it up like a 2-step equation. And so then we divide by 9, and x equals 52.
Yep.
So that means we have 52 students in each bus, plus the 4 in cars, and that would give us a
That's a
total
crowded
of 472 students. Huh?
So that's a crowded bus.
Not really.
Yes, it is.
No, not really. If it's 2 seats, if it's 2 students in each of the seats, that would mean that it's only like 26 seats. That means how many on each side?
Don't be.
That means 13 seats on each side. Yes, it do be that many. I can promise you.
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, student. You say you want to do 2?
I want to do this one.
Or what do you do the next 2?
Well, it takes an hour long. That's too long.
All right. So It says on Tuesday,
Tuesday. Second day of the week. Or third day of the week.
Shanice bought 5 hats.
5 hats.
On Wednesday, half of all the hats that she had were destroyed. On Thursday, there were only 17 left. How many did she have on Monday?
What happened on Wednesday? I mean Thursday.
Thursday, there were only 17 left. Actually, on Wednesday, there were only 17 left.
Alright.
How many did she have on Monday? They just throwing in them extra words to confuse you.
17 left. Thursday.
That don't matter. That's left you in Monday.
Wednesday.
How many did she have on Monday?
Tuesday.
Monday.
Monday had equal question mark. Alright. 5 hats were bought.
Hold on, that is not focused. All right.
There's 17 left. 17 left after half of them were depleted from school. One half is somewhere in there.
Okay, no, walk through it and say your words. Okay, she bought, you know you're ending with 17 because it says that she was left with 17. You have to pay attention to the wording. She was left with 17, so that's equal 17. And now you can go back, she said she bought, we don't know how many she started out with, so we know that's X.
X plus 5.
And we know she bought 5, so that's plus 5.
And then divided by 1/2.
And you divide by 2, not 1/2.
By 2.
Or multiply by, no, you divide by 2. Because all of what she had was destroyed. Half of it was destroyed. What are you doing? You're not multiplying.
I honestly don't know.
She started out with we don't know how many. Stop writing that. You're not multiplying. She started out with we don't know how many, so that's X. And when she bought 5, she added 2 what she already had, which gave her a new total that we don't know because we don't know how much she started out with. And so all of what she had, which is X plus 5, half of that was destroyed. So all of what she had, half of it was destroyed.
So X plus 5.
Divided by 2, correct.
So now you're going to go ahead, multiply 2 on both sides. So that equals X plus 5 equals 34. Now go ahead and subtract 5 on both sides. And get X equals 29.
All right, so again, how we set this up is because we knew she had 17 left, so that's equals. Do not erase anything. And we didn't know how much she started out with, so that was X. But we know that she added 5 to the X amount, so that's X plus 5. And it says half of everything she had was destroyed. And so we divide that by 2, or you could have multiplied, but you needed to do X plus 5 in parentheses times 1/2, which would have been the same thing as X plus 5 divided by 2. Because we know if we're taking half of something, then we divide by 2. So it's X plus 5 divided by 2 because X plus 5 is all that she had, and it says that half of that was destroyed. So that's our answer. All right, you can erase that. You ready for the next one? So the next one says the cooking club made some pies to sell at the basketball game to raise money for the new math books. Okay, why is this giving me such a hard time? Probably because somebody can be still. I don't know why. Sometimes it just does it easy, and then sometimes it doesn't. The cafeteria.
Alright. Contributed 4 pies.
Be quiet. Go to the board. Contributed.
Contrabase.
Okay. Come on, focus. Okay, the cafeteria contributed 4 pies to the sale. Each pie was then cut into 5 pieces and sold. There were a total of 60 pieces to sell. How many pies did the club make?
4 pies.
All right, so it says the cooking club made some pies to sell at a basketball game to raise money for the new MacBooks. The cafeteria contributed 4 pies to the sale. Each pie was then cut into 5 pieces and sold. There were a total of 60 pieces to sell. There were a total of 60 pieces to sell. That's important. You gotta pay attention to that.
60.
And you need to rewrite that because it's not 4 pies split into 5. It's each pie was cut into 5 pieces. Four pies cut into 5 pieces each.
I had that.
No, that's not saying that. If you write 4 pies split into 5, that's like saying you're dividing 4 pies among 5 people or something. Each pie was then cut into 5 pieces and sold. There were a total of 60 pieces to sell. How many pies did the club make?
Yeah, we're gonna be doing this all week. This class is almost over.
All right, so we have 4 pies. The club did some pies, and the cafeteria donated 4 pies. Each of those 4 pies were cut into 5 pieces each, which gave us a total. Okay, so we have a total of 60 pies between the club and the cafeteria. There's a total of 60 pies. We know that the cafeteria did 4 pies, and each of those pies had 5 pieces each. So that's going to give us plus the club pies.
Equals 60. So now what you do is
I think those are going to be cut into 5 pieces each as well. So their pies are cut into 5 pieces as well. So that gives us 20 pieces from the cafeteria, because they had 4 pies and each one had 5 slices. So that's 20 pieces or slices plus 5. The 5 slices times the number of pies that the club had equals 60. So that we're gonna subtract 20. That leaves us with 5x equals 40. Then we divide by 5. And x equals 8. So that means the club had 8 pies. So if they had 8 pies and each one had 5 slices, that would be 40 slices. Plus the 20 slices or pieces that the cafeteria had, and that's 60. 60 pieces.
I.E.
Alright, so we're gonna stop right there for today, and we will be continuing on this tomorrow if the Lord says the same. Oh, let me get some after.
No, and we ain't ready for after school.
Go ahead, turn it off.